into details in a little bit. But anyways, I am here to answer a couple of questions. And one of the ones that I get the most is, how does earnest money work? That's the most frequent question that I get when somebody is putting an offer on a home. Okay. Earnest money is much like a deposit whenever you're doing a lease, a security deposit, much like it. It is, however, different, but you should consider it as a good faith to the seller that you're serious and you have the money, at least the um, a percentage of the money that you are indicating on the contract that you're going to come up as cash when purchasing a home, your down payment, for instance. Okay, but it is really a good faith deposit, let's say. All right. So earnest money is usually 1% in my market area, the Houston market area, but I've seen it where it can travel north to about 2%. And sometimes you don't see a percentage per se. You just go with the dollar amount, a strong dollar amount, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. And in some markets like California, I would say probably when you're dealing with sales prices in the millions, there, earnest money deposit may be much higher. Okay, but for the most part, in my market area, and I think the average in the United States is 1%. Okay, so 1% of the sales price is your earnest money. What do you do with that? Okay, well, so your real estate agent will ask you, the consumer, to write a personal check, a cashier's check, never cash. Cash is not really that accepted. Um, there may be some fine lines in there, like New York is contesting stadiums for non-cash usage. I'm not sure if this will apply to me as well or to the real estate industry. Well, as a matter of fact, if you are wanting to finance, okay, that particular home you're purchasing or putting an offer on, giving it cash is a problem for you. So we don't recommend you coming up with a bag of cash because you need to be able to source it. The bank that's lending you money is going to want to know where that money came from. Okay. Sometimes you do have records to where that cash came from, and that's okay. But for the most part, we want a personal check. That will suffice. Okay. Very easy. If you don't do personal checks anymore, you can get money orders or you can get a cashier's check. You walk up to your bank, your local bank where you bank, and you ask them for a cashier's check. Now, a cashier's check does have a cost, okay? It's about 15 to maybe 26, $25 sometimes. I've seen as low as $5, but I think that price point has changed quite a bit recently. But so personal checks, guys, all you have to do is basically when your agent is preparing an offer for you, he is going to want to know which title company you're going to be doing your closing. Title company is the body, it's the attorney between the parties, okay, who is going to prepare all the documents to convey ownership from one party to the other, okay? They're the ones that are going to act as the middle person, and they're going to hold all the funds for this transaction in an escrow account, much like maybe a trust account that you trust, an escrow account, okay? That money is not the title company's money, it's everyone else's money in that transaction, okay? So your earnest money check goes into that account, and it's very well kept bookkeeping wise, okay? So it is tagged with transaction numbers that indicate that that money belongs to the particular transaction, all done by a title company system, okay? But anyways, earnest money is like a deposit and a lease, but it is more like good faith to the seller. Hey, listen, I have the money and I'm willing to put that in the line here in order for you to accept my offer. that I am going to eventually in 30 days close with my lender. Okay. Anyways, that money becomes eventually becomes credit towards all the costs that you may have in purchasing that home. It will become like a credit. Uh, hey, Dad, what are you waiting for? I'm not sure what you're waiting for. Just send a message. What are you waiting for? I'm not sure. You were waiting for me to get there. I'm getting. Okay. Oof. I'm slow. I'm slow. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta drink more coffee. But anyways, for me, yes. You see, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'll be there, Dad. I'll be there. I'll be there soon. Um, so, anyways, earnest money will be eventually credited to you on the day of closing. It will reflect on your closing disclosure, okay, as credit. So let's just say for you to close on this loan and close on this home, you need to come up with $5,000 total, including down payment, all the credits, and all that jazz. Okay, out of those 5,000, you already gave 1% of the sales price, and it was $3,000 for the sake of an example. Okay, so that means the sales price is $300,000, right? So you gave 1%, it's 3,000. So that 5,000 minus the 3,000 you already gave up front, then all you have to write a check at the day of closing is 2,000. Makes sense? Very easy math. You're giving that money up front. It's being held by the title company, and it will be credited towards your closing cost at the day of closing. Got it. If you have any more questions, go ahead and right here, I am going to closely monitor all the questions. My dad is laughing at me because I'm just slow today. And another question for you. Should I do a home inspection? Absolutely. Honestly, I tell all my buyers that if you do not have money for an inspection, I will buy one for you. I do not want to go into a home purchase without having an inspection. Absolutely not. It's part of me making sure I'm keeping you in the safe zone, guys. You want to make sure that, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit when I put together an offer. You're going to see what is there to us to protect you, while you're doing an inspection. Okay. Yes. Why do a home inspection? Well, there's several reasons why you should do a home inspection. And one of those reasons in particularly is that you might find things that you didn't know about the home. You might find things that were previously disclosed. I think on a previous week that I had a podcast on selling your home, we talked about, finding repair items through inspection. Well, so there are a couple of things with inspection that I must advise you as a consumer and all the maybe agents that are listening to me as well. Okay. For one, I think agents need to better educate their consumers, their buyers, their clients into how to look at these inspection reports. And for one is all homes have a large list of things that need to be done with the house. I mean, if the house is packing 10 years of age, it's 10 years old, there's going to be a good amount of maintenance that are maybe not up on maintenance that are, how can I put this? Things that maybe you couldn't get to. Okay. About, but you couldn't get to. You didn't have the time or the money to do, or you didn't know about it. I mean, there's a lot of maintenance that, homeowners don't know about that they need to be doing. Maybe on the next podcast, I can do a full maintenance schedule for you, the current homeowner, to do in your home year long. Hey, just had an idea. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to next week prepare a full schedule of maintenance for you to have in your current home. Okay? Year by year, month to month. Okay, we're going to go through that next week. But anyways, should I do a home inspection? Absolutely. It will cost you. It will be money out of pocket. But rely on your real estate agent to deem that particular home worthy of an inspection. Because believe it or not, you may be working with a buyer that is looking for a particular home. There are a few available on the market, and you want to be able to narrow down to that one home you like the most. And in that home you like the most, you're going to be doing an inspection on out of your own pocket. But what happens is when you do a home inspection, you find things that are completely a no-no, stuff that you don't want to deal with. You know, you found a foundation crack or elevation on your foundation that was too much and it needs to be repaired right away. Or you found some braces missing on the attic that, you know, soon enough your roof is going to crash in. You know, things that are going to cost you a lot of money. Or, you know, you found out that the AC is actually 25 years old and it's really at the end of its life and it needs to be replaced, okay? Well, and the seller is not willing to do any of that. He wants to sell the house as is. Well, so in that particular case, you put that money up front on an inspection and you're likely going to back off of that contract. And you're looking at finding another home and spending inspection money on the other home as well. So what if you go through 5 or 6 of those? You need to be able to budget for all the inspections that you're doing. So you need to rely on your real estate agent or the one that you can find in your local area, okay, that is being highly well reviewed and recommended, and rely on him to deem that home worthy of an inspection, or else you may be risking and just throwing out money out there on multiple inspections. Yeah, a lot of work for your agent as well. I mean, if he's not good at what he's doing, you're looking at writing like 5 or 6 offers, you know, different offers. Right? Because for you to be able to do an inspection, for one, your home have to be your offer have to be accepted, right? So therefore, you're writing new offers, different homes, right? And you're doing different inspections. Often enough, having a good inspector is very important as well. You know, your agent should be able to recommend you one, or you can go to Google. Typically your agent will recommend at least 3, okay, by the way. And you got to make sure that your agent is not in the cahoots with that inspector. I know that doesn't hardly ever happen, but too, if you have an agent, an inspector that gets a lot of business from your agent, okay, he is going to be a little bit nicer to your customers for the sake of you not losing a deal through inspections. Well, personally, I don't care. I want you, the inspector, to find every little bit of information for my buyer to make sure that when he's currently living in that home, he never calls me back and said, your inspector sucked. We found these issues with the home. If I had known that before we closed on this house, I would have backed out of the contract. You never want to be caught in that situation, okay? As an agent to agent, okay? So yes, do an inspection, please. Should I do a final walkthrough? Absolutely, yes. You're not required to do one. And by the way, on the home inspections, you're not required to do one either, okay? I'm just saying it is very recommended and I'll force you to do it. Me personally, I will force you to do it. If you don't want one, because you can't afford it, I'll make you agree that I'll pay for one, all right? But it's optional. Should I do a final walkthrough? Yes, you should. It's also not a requirement, but a final walkthrough is basically, let me give you this straight up. You visit one time to see the home when it was listed on the market and available for you to put an offer, okay? Your offer got accepted. Your offer got accepted. You're going to do an inspection. You're likely going to go there with your inspector. I do recommend it. You're going to learn a whole lot about the house. Just don't bother the inspector. Let him do his work. But go there and ask questions at the end. So that's your second time you're going to visit the home. Then there are maybe another 20 days worth of underwriting of your loan. If you're not buying cash, your financing process is going to take over from that point on, where there's an appraisal, there's underwriting questions about your personal life and finances. That could be 10 to 20 days more after that second visit. So for 20 days, you won't see that house again. All right. Let's say you did do an inspection, and then through that inspection, you asked the seller to do a few repairs. That repair wasn't, you need to check on it before you close on the home. Because once you sign the dotted line and they give you over the keys, that's it. It's done. So that final walkthrough, I usually recommend it a day before the closing, and that is to make sure that the seller did all the repairs that you requested him to do. Okay. I am going to be a few weeks ahead of that, asking for a copy of the invoices that were produced by any contractor that came over to repair something. Okay. But you want to go check it yourself. And usually I go there with you. I walk with the list of items that we ask repairs, and we're going to make sure that we're repaired. But another thing is important to do the final walk is, you're relying that what you're signing the next day, you're signing on is exactly what you seen when you first visit that home, right? What if you do that final walk and you find that since then there was a big rain, a hailstorm, and boom, you had a leak in the ceiling? What do you do there? So you're exercising the contract an extension for situations like that. And that could be a problem. So walkthrough is definitely not a requirement, but very much recommended. I do it, some like to do it an hour before closing, just to be sure, right? On my previous podcast, I mentioned it again. I mentioned it to you how often sellers run into issues the last day of the contract, and he's got to do whatever he's got to do to repair it before you close on it. You don't want to buy the house if there's got problems that you didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? That it should have them all be disclosed. You saw the seller's disclosures, you saw the inspection report. All of that should have given you a pretty good picture to what you're getting yourself into. But last minute, it's a good final walk is a good thing to do to make sure you don't get caught by surprise. Again, sign a dotted line, you get the keys, man, it's done with. The house is yours. I mean, of course, there may be some legal potential there, some legal remedies you can take, actions that you can take afterwards, but nothing is guaranteed, right? So yeah, do the final walk. I'll schedule one. As a matter of fact, whenever I have a client under contract, I build a system for them that reminds them of all the important dates. Okay, and therefore you're going to see on the timeline where that walkthrough, it's already there, set up for you. So if you're following my directions, you're going to do one. Okay, and that's what you need to be comfortable with. Rely on your real estate agent to set up all this, to properly guide you towards how much to put in earnest money, also get you through the inspection process with flying colors, and schedule your final walkthrough before closing. All of those things are for your own good, to make sure that you're buying what you believe you're buying, right? That you knew you're buying. Anyways, okay, so this is a Q&A. I have a question here from Chris. Keep up the great work, John. Very informative podcast. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it so much. Thank you for the opportunity. And if y'all have any